Hey, legends, welcome to the Thursday Sesh on Celtic Down Under. I'm your host, Jared, and joining me is Willie, who's just having a big yawn and probably fall asleep in about 20 minutes, and Jared. How you going, Jared?
I am also going to yawn and fall asleep in about 20 minutes.
Cool, quick pod, let's
Go
do
team!
it. Ready, break. How you going, Willie?
I'm going all right. Busy week, tired. I've not got a very good job at the moment. It's a little bit soul destroying, but we have to get on with it. Bills to pay and all
Yeah, that's every job, isn't it? The soul destroy.
that. But
Had to say it, Willie. Nah, all good. We'll leave that one there. So yeah, tonight's pod. Who knows if it'll go the hour? We'll figure it out. But yeah, we're gonna be talking about the Red Star game, talking about a couple other things off the back of that, and then previewing the Hibs game. So, change it. Episode title tonight was change the bloody formation, Brendan. I had to make that usable because within the group chat during the game last night, 3 different people said that, but with different words where it says bloody. 2 of them started with F, and yeah, I can't remember what the other one was, but yeah, it was interesting one. So yeah, we'll just get into the game against Red Star. So starting lineup was Schmeichel in goals, Donovan, Carter-Vickers, Scales, Tierney at the back, and then midfield McGregor, Hatate, Nigrin, and then up front was Maeda with Tenekti and Yang either side of him. So Willie, seeing that lineup, what was your thoughts heading into the game?
no real surprises in the lineup. I mean, he seems to favour that midfield three. So I saw the lineup and I thought, okay, that's probably Brendan's pick of players at the moment. Young out there did surprise me a little bit. I suppose that's the one, but then we don't really have many options on the right. So if it was to be Young, then it was to be. And yeah, he certainly lived up to our expectations during the game. But again, no real shocks with the lineup.
And Jared, what was your thoughts heading into it?
Yeah, I wasn't surprised after we saw the lineup of the last game. I figured a lot of it would probably be the same. I'm really hoping he's done with this midfield experiment. Like, I don't know how many bad games Rio Hatate can have and still keep his starting spot. Like, at the start of the season, like, the big thing we were saying is this is the deepest midfield that we've seen in a while. Like, we could swap the whole midfield and have a strong midfield. And then the season starts and all of them are playing like crap. Like, but we know their potential's there. So like, let's switch it up a little bit and see what happens.
Well, that's one topic we're going to talk into once we get through the game stuff. We'll deep dive into the middle of the park because that's something that I want to really, dig into a little bit. But yeah, I agree with you. It's like the midfield's just a bit odd up front, a bit of a weird one. I thought we'd potentially go with Maeda out on a wing and Iheanacho through the middle, but that didn't happen, and Brendan made some changes. But yeah, it was a bit of an interesting one. So, Jared, what was your thoughts on the first half?
Oh, the first half was absolutely pathetic. The only thing that was happening, like the first 10 minutes was just Scales and Carter Vickers passing it to each other again. And I just went, this is fucked. Like, we're not even trying to go forward. And when we did go forward, it went as far as McGregor, and then he'd just pass it back to the backs. And I was starting to get annoyed. We started going forward with Tenekti, who was really good. But the thing is, he had Hatate on his side. And so for the first 20 minutes, Tenekti was going forward. He was trying to take on players. He was trying to cut back. He was trying to do stuff. And then you could tell for the last 10 minutes of that first half, he gave in. He wasn't even trying to go forward anymore because Hatate was giving him nothing. Maeda was giving him nothing, and he was just losing the ball. So like he's been driven back down to being a current Celtic player and play how we play. Don't try anything. Just fucking suck. I know a lot of people are going to give Yang crap. I don't think Yang was that bad. We didn't go up the right-hand side as much. But when we did, like, he never lost the ball. He'd do something, he'd make someone miss, then he'd pass it to someone who would lose the ball. But I don't think we can hang too much shit on Yang. Like, he didn't do anything great, but he didn't fuck up.
There's bigger issues than Yang. There you go.
Yeah. Exactly. And it was all the midfield. Like, we had a little bit of success when we went up the sidelines, but a lot of times it was just getting shut in the midfield. And yeah, we're going to come on to that, but it just everything died through that midfield in that first half. And that's my
Yeah, I have no idea what you just said there, Jared. He just went really, chipmunky just for that last bit.
He faded
I said
out. He's
pretty much
rapturing. He's away.
everything just died going through the middle, and that was pretty much the summary of the first half. Like,
Yeah.
playing around the back, nothing was going through the middle, and then going up the wings worked for a little bit, but then they just kind of gave in because no one was helping them through the middle again.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with the majority of what you said there. Like for me, it wasn't a pretty watch first half. They could have scored two. Let's be honest, two quite comfortably. One hit the side netting, one hit the post. So yeah, I don't know if Casper got a finger to that or not, but yeah, it was there's enough of a fingertip on it to push it onto the crossbar. So yeah, all things considered, and then we had a miss at the end there, so could have easily been 2-1 at half time. It was just an ugly first half game of football, and as you were saying, like Tenecti was trying to make things happen early on, but eventually you get to the point where when the midfield's not getting the ball and looking forward, they're not picking out his runs. Suddenly you stop making those runs. You stop trying to take guys on. So, yeah, I think that sums it up. Willie, what was your take on the first half? Anything to add?
Nah, it wasn't the best first half performance I've seen from Celtic. Both teams took time to settle into the game. Both teams' XG was below 0.5, one shot on target apiece. It wasn't great. Like you, Jared. I think if the Serbs had their shooting boots on, I think it could have been a bit more of an uncomfortable watch for us, and maybe a bit more uncomfortable result overall. But for some reason, I was looking on FotMob. They had their passing accuracy at 90% for the first half, which I just cannot get my head around. There were so many needless turnovers of possession. I can't see how 90% passing accuracy can be sort of churned out for that. But our front three really struggled to get into the game, and Hattati behind them, he was just an empty jersey from that whole first half. So overall, rather insipid 45 minutes of football. Like.
I'm just going to go through some comments here just a little bit. So Robert Gibson is saying, at least we didn't get humped. And that was the concern going into it for me. Like, Red Stars just come off the Belgrade derby, beat Partisan 2-1. So they're going to be the high from the weekend coming into that. So I'm looking at it going, what's this going to do for them? Like, is this going to be a game where they're resting people for their next game, or what is it? So they come in, did their thing. Yeah, if either team had their shooting boots on, it would have been a different story. But Andrew Galea saying both wingers were isolated, not just Yang, and that's what we're just getting at with Tenecti. He didn't get many service, same sort of deal. Maddie's saying just watched minimal highlights, but a point there with this team is acceptable, and that's something we'll get to a little later on in the pod as well. Henrik McLaughlin saying is how bad must Bernardo and Engels be if Rio is getting in front? We will definitely be getting into that midfield conversation. I'm just bringing up the comments now so that I don't miss them later on. Andrew Galea is saying Maida wasn't himself, something is wrong. And that one there, he's given me vibes of French Eddie in his last season in the COVID year where he wanted his move, it didn't happen, and then he just reminded me of prime Nicholas Anelka, like Lasolk. He just doesn't look like he's putting in as much as he always has. Like, what's your thoughts on that, Jared?
Yeah, like he got caught offside in positions where he shouldn't be getting caught offside because he was just being lazy. Where like that's not usually him. He's usually tracking back and trying to mark someone. And there was one where like there was a good through ball. He was wide open, and like he just needed to be like a meter forward, and he was still deeper than his man because there's another guy deep, but he just was dawdling. He didn't seem to care. I think like the first 5 minutes. I think he tried to come back and pressure, and then that was it. He just kind of stopped, and I don't even remember seeing him for the rest of the game. The half anyway.
And the thing on that, Jared, is like the work ethic has been his biggest calling card the whole time at
Mm.
Celtic. And if he's not gonna have that same work ethic now, we all know Moriyasu, the Japanese manager, does not rate the Scottish League. So Dazen, to keep his spot in the Japanese World Cup squad, he needs to be performing in Europe. This is the game where he needs to be. Outside of derbies, this is the game where he needs to be out there with his name in lights, just outworking everyone on the pitch. And that's what concerns me, Willie. Like seeing that, he's he may not be happy he didn't get his move, but at the same time, do you want to go to the World Cup?
Oh, I mean, let's not be about the bush. This is a very, very physical Cerner-Zvezda team, mate. You know, what I mean, they were big. They were big physical guys who were imposing, and they put that pace and they put that power about, and they did really sort of rough them up a bit, like But yeah, there was really a big lack of effort from Maeda throughout the game. It was really bad. It was really noticeable. So I don't know, did he come on the end of a sore one, the early doors? I missed the first couple of minutes from the streams and stuff like that when I was watching, trying to get tuned into it at lunchtime. But I don't know, did he come under a heavy one and it just sort of we lost interest in the game. But
Didn't
it
happen.
was there were not. But no, it was just it's disappointing to see, to be honest, because like you say, he is all about pace. He's all about that effort, never stopping, running, 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 and it's not there at the moment.
It's not just Maeda though who's given that sort of thing, and whose name was mentioned earlier, but Rio's the same sort of thing. And yeah, and then for their goal in the second half, there was another guy who switched off for a moment, which is CCV. So there's players who are big game players for us who have done it in the Champions League who just aren't cutting it in Europe. They're making, schoolyard sort of things, whether it's an effort or whether it's a switching off for a second or whatever. Things like that are happening. Like Casper had a couple of moments as well last night in the game. So yeah, it's just there's a few players who actually there's a lot of players in the team who just aren't in good form. So it's frustrating. But anyway, let's get some more comments up here. Andrew Galea is saying Tierney is struggling. We're not getting as much out of him compared to Taylor. Never thought I would have agreed with someone about that. So yeah, and then we got Steve-O saying here, only Celtic fans can wake up after a draw in Serbia and moan about how bad we are and how much of a crisis we are in. The whipping boys of Europe for 20 years and now draws are unacceptable. I went into the game. If you listen to Monday's pod, Steve-O, I actually said we'd come out of this with a draw. I didn't expect to win, and I said a draw over there would be a good point. So I don't know whether that's on
I've seen
Twitter or
his
whatever.
comments. They're all just bitching. And the thing is, like, all you asked for was what did we think of the first half? Not did we think we'd win. We played like crap. Like, even if we played well, we didn't say we're going to go in and flog them 5-0. Like, he's got a few comments in there.
Yeah, that's all right. If people want to be like that, we'll just ignore it. But yeah, we've got Andrew Galea saying, in fact, we're missing Greg Taylor more than anyone thought we would. I think Willie would agree with that. But Robert Gibson's got the best thing here. Boys, need to get on the pawn to understand penetration. I don't know, Robert. We'll take your experience words there for you. But what do we got here? McLaughlin saying, I actually think there's a generation here who don't appreciate how tough going to places like Belgrade and Zagreb actually is. Yeah, there's that other comment from Steve-O. Why should Celtic be going to Belgrade and just turn up and beat the Serbian champions? Talk about deluded. I don't know which way you swing there, mate. I'm thinking potentially you wear blue on weekends. But anyway. Yeah, so anyway, we'll just get on to the second half. So, Willie, what's your thoughts about the second half?
The second half was a better 45 minutes to watch. I mean, we started out, I think Negren was fed a perfect ball from Tierney, and he sort of fluffed his lines and just inside the box. And then there was that 10-minute spell from like the 50th to 60th minute, and it was just Celtic pressure. Negren picked out Ian Nacho for he forced a save at the goalkeeper. I think the goalkeeper got a bit injured. It was brave goalkeeping, and Tanecki had a corner flicked on by Scales, and the final shot was from Donovan, I think it was. It was saved well by the keeper, and then we scored. But instead of going on to try and kill the game off or try and settle down and just sort of protect the lead, we just went to pieces. We fell apart, and we allowed them back into the game for 10 minutes, and then their goal came, which was just a scramble in the box. It just kind of highlights how frail we are from set pieces. But in the end, the game after that swung. Sort of one team had a wee shot at going forward, and then the next team had the shot. But there was no real clear-cut chances created after that, to be honest. There was a couple of saves here and there, but there was nothing you could say that should have been the winner of the game. It just sort of petered out to a draw, as it was going to be. So it seems.
What do you think, Jared?
I think it was night and day between the first half and the second half, and I was surprised that the only difference made was Maida for Inietro, who I wasn't sure, like, I didn't know what to expect from him when he came on. And I even posted in our group chat, I said about Tanecki played 20 minutes really well, and then he came down to our level because no one was giving him service. And I said, this was Nygren. We all thought Nygren was like the next freaking coming when he first played. He had a couple of really good games, and then he's just dropped to everyone else's level. And then he proved me wrong. He actually started doing those little runs. He started making a bit of creativity. Like his forward run was almost set up Kelechi for his first goal, but it was saved. His other little run hit it to him and was an assist for another goal. Like, he was actually starting to make things work. I don't know what they said at halftime. If he said, hey, Brendan Rodgers, like, hey, forget about my coaching and just go back to doing what you want to do. But whatever it was, it started to work, and I hope he's getting back into that sort of form. Again, Hatate still done nothing, but everyone else was kind of going around him. Donovan played well, and I actually liked Srirachi. Like, he actually played really well when he came off. I think he played better than Tierney, and I think he played better than Tierney last time he played as well, which is not good because he's only on loan and we don't have an option to buy. But, I mean, I guess the bright thing is he's there as an option. But he made a couple of really good defensive plays. He looks good going forward. But, yeah, we looked completely different going forward in that second half, and I don't know why it made a difference in the midfield when all we done was swap strikers. But yeah, I will not doubt Kelechi Iheanacho anymore until he looked really good and very confident in front of goal.
Can confirm that Jared did say in our group chat that as I said that Nygren starts making those runs. There you go. So he did say exactly that. He's out of himself, so good on him. But yeah, it was Nygren first half compared to second half was completely different, and it was that way. The actual game of football, if you watch the first half and then you compare it to the second half, it was night and day, so much better for both teams as well. So yeah, it was interesting one there. Second half goals. Kelechi, Big Cows, his finish, Willie. What'd you think of that?
It was a really good finish. I mean, he picked up the ball. He sent his man for the shopping. You know what I mean? Just left him for dead and just set himself up a perfect goal. And he just put it in that position that was just too high for the keeper to get his hands to. Well taken. You know what I mean? In the top corner, kept his cool. And as I say, Mateus had no chance. Like,
The thing I liked about it the most was it was all done left-footed. Like, as the ball's received, he cushions it with his left foot. So you think, okay, he's cushioning it left, and he's going to step and shoot it with his right to the other corner, and he's cushioned it. And then as he's like turned back, he's just gone bang and shot it back with his left foot. So like one sort of movement. So it's like cushion, step, bang, put the shot in. So I didn't expect that. When I watched the replay back, I didn't, at the time, I was like, oh yeah, cool. It's a good finish. But when I watched the replay before, I was like, okay, it was all left footed. So he's cushioned with the same foot and then scored with that. So not bad. Not bad at all. I'm impressed.
not bad. I think his right foot's for standing on. I think he is predominantly left footed. Like, so yeah.
There you go. Jared, what do you think of that goal, or even go to their one if you want?
On Iniacho's goal, the very first thing I thought when he done it, when he just took it, pivoted, kept control of the ball when it wasn't an easy pass because the defender was like in the way as well, and then just put it outside the keeper. The first thing I thought of was if Dyson was still on, he'd have kicked it straight into the keeper, or if that was Ida, he would have kicked it straight into the keeper. And the first thing I thought is, holy crap, we actually have a proper striker now. He can get the ball, turn, pivot, and just pick out a spot with no time. So that was when I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to start believing in him now. I think everyone's probably going to agree with me. When we got him, I thought he was going to be the striker that's going to come on in the last 15 minutes and just do whatever for the last 15 minutes. I never actually really thought he was going to be our number one striker, just the way he came in. But now I actually believe he can be our actual number one striker, and he's given me a lot more than what I thought he was going to.
Well, that ties into something that I wanted to talk about a bit later when we talk about formations and stuff, but I'm just going to throw to it quickly, just on him for that there. It's funny what happens when you bring in guys like Tenecti and you bring in guys like Kalachi there who actually fit the system that the gaffer wants to play. Like, Dyson isn't great being that like target man / false nine. He's better getting the ball and running at people or running in behind. So in games like this where there's a set defense and they're big and they're hammer throwers and they want to get out there and kick you, it actually makes sense to have a striker like that who has the soft feet to be able to cushion a pass. Because if that ball had gone into Adamita, it would have gone flying back out off his foot 2 meters. He wouldn't have been able to cushion it because it was coming in quick. He wouldn't have cushioned it softly enough, got in a position to score. Same with Dazen. If it hit Dazen, it's probably going to hit him and, who knows where it'd end up. So it's one of them where I just look at it and go, that was just some class footwork there, and I'm happy that we managed to get him.
And cheap.
The board would love that. I mean, there's Scrooge McDuck piles of money. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but on your point, like when you look at Kyogo, I think is currently a way better striker than Iniacho, but not in Brendan's system. He was just digress, like he was going backwards. He wasn't doing well. And you bring in Iniacho, who's probably not as good, but fits the system better. And so he ends up like being elevated by the system.
It's just like in Brendan's first year at the club, the first time around, he had Lee Griffiths coming off a 40-goal season under Ronnie, yet Moussa Dembele comes in and fits the system better.
He wants pace and power up front, doesn't he? And then what you have with Kyogo is pace and finesse, not power. So it's definitely power he looks for. Like,
and with Dazen, it's speed.
Yeah.
So
pace.
Yeah. So it's a bit different. But anyway, like their goal, I touched on it earlier. I just thought it was Carter Vickers switched off for a second. You got to know where Arnautovic is all the time. He's a quality finisher and he's a menace. So, yeah, it was half expected him to score anyway. So, yeah.
Well, what about Schmeichel? Do you agree with him going out to the winger, or would you have preferred him to stay back?
Should have stayed on his line.
Yeah.
He should have stayed on his line. Carter Vickers and the other guy there should have been covering that 6-yard box. In that situation, if it's a run to the back post, he needs to be on his line, make himself as big as possible, as close to his near post where that ball's coming in. Sorry, the post where it is, so the back post. He has to make himself as big there, take away the angle there. So the guy headering it has to header it back across goal. That's what he needs to do. And yeah, this wasn't a good play all around. Willie, you got anything to add?
Nah, not really. I mean, like I say, it just kind of shows how frail we are at set pieces, and it's something that just doesn't seem to be getting addressed. Week in, week out in Europe, we go out there. Sorry, game after game we go into in Europe. You see them getting a set piece in our half, and I'm certainly me, I'm cringing thinking, oh, this is going to be a goal, because I have no confidence in them when it comes to set pieces at the moment, or have been for a while, should I say.
Yep, same here. So are there any other players that you guys want to specifically focus on other than the midfield? Because we're going to get to that next. So where we normally go player focus, anyone you want to talk about?
I want to keep it a little bit more positive, and I'm going to say I think Balikwisha looked a lot better on the left. Like he didn't have a lot of time, he didn't have a lot to do, but he looked like he had energy. He was making runs. The passes to him were not great. If they were a little bit better, we'd probably be praising him for scoring goals. But he was pressing. There was one part where I saw him in the bottom right hand corner because he had followed some guy the whole way across the field to try and get the ball back off him. So at least like his effort is there, and he did look better than he did last game on the left. And I think he's going to be a solid backup left winger for Tenecti.
For me, there's only one other player I wanted to touch on here, but normally I'll wrap it up into this one. Normally I say who is your man of the match for us in the game, and for me it was Colby Donovan. I'm so impressed by that kid. It makes you think like, and there's a point here from Smell the Glove, which ties into it, which is Colby Donovan proving a right find. Wonder how many more young players we have had but not given a chance. Like the fact of the matter is that we're talking about this on Monday, that he's only getting a chance because our first two options in AJ and the Bricky are out injured, and this kid's shown that he's up to it. So, in my opinion, AJ's still the starter. Donovan's the backup. Bricky's their third option at right back now. But yeah, it's good to see. I'm really impressed with him. Plus, it's always good to see an academy kid come through. And when you look at our two fullbacks going into that game with both academy products, it's always a good thing.
Yeah.
Who's your man, Billy?
I thought Colby Donovan and Liam Scales were both phenomenal at the back, but I know he was a bit quieter than his last couple of games, but Tenecti I thought was really good, and I really enjoyed the battle between him and the South Korean Seal fellow. I thought they had a really good tussle out there on that our left, their right hand side. I thought them two really went at each other, and I thought it was a really good contest between the two of them. I quite enjoyed watching them.
And Jared?
I'm going to go with Iniacho because the only change we made at halftime was him, and the team completely changed. And he got the goal. So like it's hard. I don't know who I'd give like for that first half. Maybe like if you're going by two halves, maybe Donovan. But yeah, like the game changer I think was that change at halftime, and I don't know what it was with him, but he made the team look like a completely different team. He raised everyone's levels. I don't know if it was him or if it was something that the manager said, but for me, that's why I'd give him man of the match.
Fair enough. Happy days. So we'll talk about the midfield situation, right? Because this is just the main thing I wanted to talk about on tonight's pod. That's where we got the topic, like the episode title as well for tonight, which is like change the bloody system, Brendan. It's one that I just want to ask you boys. Oh, come on. Just accidentally deleted something. There we go. I think the midfield is our biggest issue at the moment, right? And before I dive into it too much, I'm going to go through my rundown of the situation at the moment, my Cliff Notes stuff. Then I'm going to go through the comments and just bring up a bunch of comments, and then we'll assess it and talk about what we want to do. So for me, I'm looking at it going, our midfield balance is off since Nigren has come in. Engels is looking like a shadow of himself from last season. Bernardo barely makes it onto the pitch these days. Kalmack is slow and play down too much with his backward and sideways passing. And Rio has been an empty jersey the last few weeks. So that's my general assessment. The only one who's really, anytime he's been on lately, is Luke McCowan is the only one who is impacting the game, whether he's starting or coming off the bench, mainly off the bench there. But I just think there's a lot there fluttering to deceive. So we'll just bring up some comments here. RL77 said, can we drop Kelmac? Heavy Vibes is saying, Rio's been shite for 2 seasons now. Craigie White is saying, we'll say again, there's a chat about Engels needed. And then Heavy Vibes, I think we need 2 mids to help Kelmac. that's where we'll get into the ways we can fix this here. So, yeah, just scrolling through some more comments, seeing what else is in there. Uh, the main thing for me is, like, what I want to ask is, with all that in mind, do we need to change our formation, Willie?
Absolutely, we have too much. Like we have too much of the same thing in so many different positions on that pitch, and it's becoming glaringly obvious. As I said, San Zvezda had a lot of power in their team, and they just bullied us in the middle of the pitch, and they were forcing us to turn over possession quite openly in the first half, and it was quite alarming to watch because Kalmak was there in the middle on his own, and he basically had two number 10s playing in front of him, and the two number 10s that are there is Rio Hatati and in this game Ben Nygren, and neither of them were really willing to sort of come back and help Kalmak out, which was kind of alarming because that's as a mid when you're playing a midfield three, one of them needs to be able to drop in and give Kalmak that help he needs when he's in there. But the two of them were just more interested in trying to get balls for it. Well, saying that, like I hope Liam's not watching, but fucking Rio Tati didn't look interested at all in that game. He didn't bother. He didn't bother at all. I was quite alarmed by how lackluster his performance was. But Ben Nygren, going forward, he's great. You know what I mean? You put him in that pocket as behind a striker or behind two strikers, he'd be a cracking player for us. But he's not a centre midfielder. He's not a winger. Like I say, he is definitely one of that number 10 type players. And that's the same position that Rio Hatati wants to play in the whole time, trying to pick out that forward passes just behind the strikers and get things going. So you have two players trying to play the same sort of role, and it's not working. It's the same as the left wing. We were short of right wingers, and the board went out and signed two left wingers for us. So now we've got like three or four left wingers and nobody on the right. We're top heavy in the same position throughout the pit. You know what I mean? Centre halves. How many left-sided centre backs or to the left side of the defence have we got now? And you've got Cameron Carter-Vickers and Pusey who can play, but Pusey's got a bad attitude by all accounts, and he won't be able to play for us because he's not training too well, or he's got a bit of a so I'm better than you attitude. But I don't know. There seems to be too much of the same thing in the wrong positions, and we haven't got balance there at the minute.
Jared, I'll let you jump in off the back of that before I come in with my thoughts on it.
I wouldn't do dramatic changes. The only thing I would change is take off Rio, put on Engels, and bring two center mids and put Nygren as like a central attacking midfielder, because he plays when he's playing his best, he plays almost like a shadow striker. Like he makes runs off that back line like Kyogo would be doing, and he can create, but he's not been allowed to. And then just when I saw him again at the second half of this game, when I saw him making those off the shoulder runs, I was like, he needs the space to do that. And we saw how well it, like when we went to this formation against Atalanta, that was a game we should have been getting flogged, and we held them out. And I don't know why he hasn't come back to it. Like, because we need the help coming out of the back. Engels is great at it. Kalmak needs help. Nygren will get opened up to actually be creative and make runs. That's the only change I would make.
So for me, what I'm seeing is Kalmak sitting there in the 6, right? And then you either have the two guys in front of him really close to him and on top of him, so there's no room for them to pass, so they have to go backwards or sideways, or they're both trying to play up in the 10 at the same time, and there's a massive gap, so he has to play long passes to them. He can't do it, so we have to go out and go to the wingers. So it's breaking down the middle there. And the thing is, we're playing a 4-3-3. It's a simple little change, like what Willie said. We go back to what Brendan did in the first time here, and with Pete McGee saying it here as well, got to try a 4-2-3-1. Now we've got Iheanacho in there. And to me, that makes the most sense, because what it does is it'll fix Kalmak's problems where he's slowing down things, because remember Brendan's first thing, Bruni was slowing down, so he had Kalmak next to him, the young legs to do his running for him. Well, that'd be a perfect situation to either put Kalmak into, if we change the formation of that, you can play Engels next to him in the 6 along with Kalmak, and then you can put Nygren into the 10. which is where you're saying he makes most sense. And I just see a combination of Nigren in the 10. He's like, reminds me of if you took a combination of when Ryan Christie was playing that position and Tom Rogic in that position with it's like he's like a combo. He's like a halfway point between those two in that 10 role. And I think that would work in this system perfectly. So if you went to the 4-2-3-1 had the two sixes and the 10, and you don't worry about the eights because whichever one is on ball side pushes forward into the eight, the other one holds, you're laughing, right? So that's the obvious option. The other option, so Kelmac doesn't have to do as much, push him up into an eight, take Rio out, then have Nigren in like the 10 role, have Kelmac as box to box in the eight, and doesn't have to all the defensive and organisation responsibility, and either play Bernardo or Engels in that 6 role and just get on with it. We need to get some fresh legs in the middle. That's the problem. It's too slow. And Roscoe's spot on here saying, but changing the system only changes things if we start playing at a higher tempo. And that's what we've got to do to play at a higher tempo. We need younger legs in there. We need a bit more dynamism in the middle of the field. So, yeah, it's a bit of an interesting one there. Smell the Glove is saying this is where Brendan annoys me. Not willing to change the system to suit certain games and players. Opposition know what's coming. 100%. It's pretty obvious. And then Pete McGee, exactly. 4-2-3-1 would solve that. And then your Pete McGee's also saying Nigren is Matt O'Reilly 2.0. And the formation, Iheanacho won't get offside as often as Dazen does. And you can even put Dazen out on the wing. So there's plenty of options there. But the middle of the park, it's just awkward. And Stephen Ray, spot on. Like I was saying, you put Mader on the wing. Mader played on the right wing numerous times under Ange. If he's already aiming to leave, then Rodgers just needs to play him on the right with Jamesy as backup. Young needs to be benched. So, as Robert Gibson says here, Bernardo is probably the best option for the 6. So that's the easiest way to fix it. Brendan can, if he's not going to go to a back 3, where we're saying a 5-3-2 like we've been talking on earlier in the season, go back to your old system, your 4-2-3-1. Put someone in there to do Kelmac's running. Makes too much sense for me, and it will improve that area of the pitch. Any other thoughts on the midfield there, Willie, you want to jump in with? Because I've been rambling for a bit.
Nah, I mean, the last few times I've been on, I've been advocating for the 4-2-3-1 or the 4-3-2-1, but we went and signed a couple of wingers, so we do have some sort of play in the width, so we don't really need to shift to the Christmas tree and bring the front three in narrower. Like, so for me, shifting to a 4-2-3-1 would make more sense. Like.
And Jared, you got anything to finish that topic off for us?
Yeah, just same as Willie. Like we had many discussions about changing formations when we were on, but that's why I've kind of given up on that, and I've made that tiny little change because I don't know if Brendan will change. But if we do go to a 4-2-3-1, I think it would be good. I just don't see him doing it, so that's why I would just make that little change in midfield. But if he does, fantastic.
Come on, Brendan, change the bloody formation. There you go. Gaddafi Semtex is saying midfield has no balance. McLaughlin saying we should have kept Taylor and played him as a number 6. And then Pete's also saying with 2 in the midfield, the 3 in front can move forward quicker with confidence. Exactly. So it's a whole bunch of things there we can look at. So anyway, we'll leave that there. Let's hope something happens. But off the back of the result, the 1-1 draw in Belgrade, boys, well, Willie, how do you think we're shaping up in general in the Europa League? Because I've seen people online from other countries, not Celtic fans, saying that I saw some Portuguese fans, right? I have no idea who they follow, but they were saying if Celtic play at that level, then away from home will be in a good spot once it's all said and done. Do you agree with that assessment?
Oh, listen, look, we should be aiming for top 9. There should be no ifs or buts about that. We should be looking for top 9 for this. But if we fail to make the playoffs, even then there's something seriously wrong. So for me, It's too early to tell yet. I mean, that midfield is slow and it's not very functional at the moment, and it won't take long for teams to figure that out and start exploiting it. So we got a really good result in Belgrade, and you really do have to say that is a very tough. It's an intimidating venue. It's a tough place to go, and we've come away with a good result. But if we carry on putting in performances in the midfield like that, teams will soon start exploiting it. Like so, we need to sort of sharpen up a wee bit, and we need to get more fluidity to our play, and it needs to be we need to be sharper with our passing too. We need to be more getting the ball forward quicker because right now the horseshoe death's there, and it's not enjoyable to watch for us. And like I say, it won't take long for teams to be able to exploit that. Like
Jared, anything to add?
If we're going off the first half, I would be surprised if we made it past the first round. But the first half is gone, and we've now played the second half. Iniacho, I think with more game time, I think he will get better, and he will be a player for us. He needs to do something in the midfield, and I think he will. If we're going off that second half, if we can play like we are in the second half, if he can make people play to their strengths, like Tenekti, we know what his strengths are. He can take on people. If he can let him play to his strengths and have people help him, if he can get Negrin and have him like in that 10 role and making those runs and being creative, let the players that he's bought play to their strengths. I really believe we can go far in this. But when he takes them out of that, and like Negrin's just another empty jersey when you just make him do something that isn't his role.
Yep. So I was just looking through some of the other results. So Michelin beat Sturm Graz 2-0. PAOK and Tel Aviv 0-0. Ludogorets beat Malmo 2-1. Braga beat Feyenoord 1-0. Real Betis and Nottingham Forest 2-0. Freiburg beat Basel 2-1. Dinamo Zagreb 3, Fenerbahce 1, and an AL draw 1-0. And Roma beat Nice 2-1. So there's no real results there jumping off the page that it's anything scary at this point in time. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. I think Red Star's going to go pretty far in this comp too. I think they are a well coached, well drilled, big physical team. I think we'll do well if we finish top 8. You automatically the next round. I don't know about that, but if we get 9 through to 12 sort of range, I think that's where we could end up. Roscoe is saying here 12 points gets us through. And to be honest, I think we'll struggle to get there. If we don't have at least 8 points on the board by the end of game 4, then I think we're gubbed. And then Roscoe follows it up saying Braga are a team who will cause us problems in the next game. And then Pete McGee saying I'm not buying all the talk, saying that Red Star are bang average. I think we'll look back on that one as a good point. That'd be like potentially the Atalanta game last year where it was the 0-0 draw away from home, and that actually turned out to be a huge result for us. So, yeah, it could be an interesting one. I think it's just a matter of us getting through and doing, picking up points away from home and winning at home. So, there you go. So, do you want to get straight to the game preview, boys, for the weekend and start to wind it down a bit because Willie looks like he's about to pass out? Or do you want to just go for a random lucky dip comment or question? What do you want to do?
I'm easy, Ozzy, mate. You want to do a lucky dip? I'm happy with that.
First person in the comments, numbers 1 to 22. Someone just throw a random number in there quickly. Let's go. What was that? Was that your dog coming in the room before Willie?
He's just coming from at the back, and the other dog, she's lying there.
I was like, geez, who's banging the headboard? And then I remembered about your dog door.
Yeah.
There you go. Dermot, number 15. Perfect. Topical all here. How does Celtic's squad depth compare to other European teams? There you go. Perfect. How do you think that goes, Willie?
Pish.
Jared?
On paper, our midfield depth is amazing. On the field, it's absolute garbage. And then on our left wing, amazing depth.
Yeah.
Right wing, we don't even have a starter. So yeah, I'm going to go Pish.
I'm going to say uneven.
Yeah.
Honestly, though, some teams average. All right. So,
Yeah.
but yeah. Do we want to go one more? Because that was a quick one.
Go on.
Roscoe said 17. So, what's the legacy of Celtic manager Brendan Rodgers at the club? I think that's a whole deep dive podcast there. So we'll
Yeah.
leave that one. Let's see what else we've got. No, we can't do that. Can't answer that one. We've already done that. Looking for one more that someone said here. 22. Yeah, I think we're right with that. So let's just jump into the preview. Now I'm looking at the questions. I didn't read through them. I didn't delete ones off that we'd done previously. So I'm like, yeah,
Uh,
that was a yeah. So Saturday 3 p.m. I think it is. Sunday 12 a.m. for us. But Hibs are playing. We're playing Hibs at Paradise. How you feeling heading into the game, Jared?
After Hibs' last two games, they lost 2-0 to Rangers, who Rangers only really turned up for 10, 15 minutes of that game. And then they actually drew to Falkirk. They're quite strong going forward, but they're absolutely appalling at the back, which means the guys that are meant to be going forward to do the damage aren't getting forward. And so our defense has been pretty solid. I think we can keep them up their side of the field, and with their bad defense, hopefully, I'm going to go. Negrin's going to get on the board.
There you go. Really, how you feeling heading into the game? Think it's going to be a tough one, or do you think we'll just walk it? What do you reckon?
it's not going to be an easy one. They haven't played midweek, so they've been well rested. As Jared said, I'm in agreement. This is a decent side going forward, and it's definitely got a lot of goals in the team. The young boy Kieran Bowie is about up front. He's got something about him. You know, McGrath and Boyle playing in behind, and there's certainly going to be a goal threat. But as Jared said, they leak goals quite regularly. So, and then you see any team playing a back three, you instantly think, right, let's get our wide players into that. So, it could be a game for Balakwisha or Tenekti to try and show something at Parkhead. So, but I definitely think we'll definitely need to sort of freshen up after that physical battle we had today. So, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think it's going to be one of those games where us playing off the back of travelling away in Europe, it's always a tough one. It's always a bit of a banana skin anyway at the best of times. To then play Hibs, who leak goals, but then they can come forward. It's going to be, and then us, we don't really look to go forward. We pass back. The majority of the game is going to be played in Hibs' half. I think we've got to make some changes, rotate some players, and just get after it, because this is one of those games that, yeah, we need to make sure that we picking up the 3 points. So with that in mind, Jared, what's your starting lineup going to be, and what's your score prediction?
I knew you were going to ask that. I'm now looking for what our lineup was.
Or do you want to go with
All right,
Willie
so
first?
I'm going to go Schmeichel in goal, and stay there and don't chase things out to the freaking wing. Back, Donovan still, CCV and Scales, because he doesn't change it. I would like to see Satchel.
Sriracha.
This is why I was Sriracha. I'd like to see Sriracha actually get given a start, because I think he's got the pace and the legs to keep up with any fast breaks that might get in there. And I know that Scales' big downfall is on the fast breaks. Like, he doesn't have the pace and he likes to grab and tackle. Midfield, like I said before, I would go with Carmack and Engels, with Negrin playing a 10. And then still Tenekti, Iniacho, and Yang.
Both me and Willie reacted to the Yang. We're not members of the Yang gang on the Thursday one. That's Dan on Mondays. But Willie, what's your starting lineup?
My starting lineup is Schmeichel in goals, Donovan, CCV, Scales, and Sarachi at the back, Kalmak in the six, Engels and McCowan in front of him, Forrest and Balakwisha in the wide areas, and Big Ian up front.
For me, I'm going to go with Schmeichel at right back. I think we could potentially see the return of the Bricky at some point during this game. He was on the bench, but yeah, I think Donovan will start. The Bricky will come in. So it'll be Donovan, CCV, Scales, and I'll have Sarachi on the left. Middle of the park, I want to see Engels, Bernardo, and McCowan up front. Iheanacho, Jamesy, and Tenecti. And then we'll go how's this for a lineup from McLaughlin? Sinisalo, Ralston, Murray, Scales, Sirachi, Engels, McCowan, Balakwisha, Tenecti, Iheanacho, Forrest. That would be some rotation, I'm telling you there. So
Also, who's he got playing where? Because he's got Forrest, Iniacho, Balikwisha, and Tunetsky. Who have you got playing in midfield?
he's playing a front four, okay? He's
He's
playing
playing
a 4-2-4.
He's playing a 4-2-3-1, and he'd have three attacking midfielders in Balakwisha, Taneki, and Forrest.
Balakwisha's in the 10.
Aye, and Engels and McCowan anchoring midfield.
There you go.
4-2-3-1.
So Pete's saying no way Ralston should unseat Donovan. And the reason I said about that is that the Bricky will come in is, as McLaughlin saying, it might be too much for Donovan to play 3 games in a week. Dermot is saying Schmeichel, Donovan, Scale, CCV, KT, Kelmac, Engels, McCowan, Tenecti, Iheanacho, Dazen. So there we go. We picked it up on it with McLaughlin, Balakwisha as a 10. So, yeah, all things considered, we'll get our score predictions and we'll wrap it up with a final thought. So, what's the score going to be in this game, Jared?
3-1.
Who are your goal scorers?
Iniacho, Negrin, Scales.
Willie, what do you got the score going to be?
3-0.
Scorers?
Ian Nacho, Balakwisha, and McCowan.
And for me, 3-1. Scorers will be... this is an interesting one for you. I think we're going to get a Tenecti double. And we're going to have Luke McCowan scoring the last one. Either Luke or Jamesy. Let's get Jamesy on the score sheet early so we don't have to worry about him scoring in another season again. Yeah, let's do that.
Waiting the whole season.
I forgot about that.
So let's sort that out. So what we'll do is thanks everyone for tuning in. Appreciate it. If you haven't done so, hit the like button on the YouTube. It helps with the algorithm. Get a comment, subscribe to the channel, all the good stuff. Our social media channels are all on the screen here. Get on there, give them a like, follow them, helps us out a bit. And we'll finish off with a final thought. So, Willie, do you want to go first?
No final thought from me this week. Sorry, I haven't thought about it. So
his final thought is, I don't do thoughts. Cool. Jared, do you got a final thought?
Welcome back, Jimmy Kimmel.
My final thought, pretty simple. If you want one of these flags, send me a message, DM, whatever. I've still got a few of them to get rid of. So send us a message. We'll, got about 15 of them to go. So feel like it. Roscoe's asking a question. By the way, are you in the fan media WhatsApp group set up by Axel? Yeah, I am, Ross. So, yeah, we're in there, definitely. All right, thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Hail, hail.
Hail, hail.
Hail, hail.